Sparrow's Hideaway is the scene of this week's Calypso Showcase, where we feature a special two-part program on the reigning and undisputed Calypso king of the world, Dr. Sparrow. This week we talk to him here at the Hideaway. Next week you get him live in the studio. I'm impressed by the magnificent spread that you have here. But what is even more significant is that looking over your balcony, one can look straight at Kitchener's home from here.
Yes, Kitch always looking over here. Yeah. I'm a partner, man.
You all could almost talk to each other long distance.
Shout loud and hard enough. He could hear me,
You've been having a lot of shows, Sparrow in concert over the last few weeks. How has these shows been going for you?
Very well. Wall-to-wall people. Yeah, we've really put on some good shows,
And you have even more coming up for us?
Well, definitely. I'm working on a mid-year LP right now. Mm-hmm. That's the LP with Survival and some of the others. Then I have I put a nice medley on it, and keep it hot and spicy,
I hear a rumor that you're going to have a concert with Sugar Aloes. How true is that?
I think the rumor is true this time. Yeah, Aloes and I are going to square off, I think it's 17 and 18, that's spectacular.
That should be interesting.
Well, yes, I already sent a threat to him last couple of days when they asked me about it, and I told them, all he had to do is to remember the hammer.
I remember when I did an early interview, you said one thing. You said, I interviewed Aloes on that day, and you said, tell them don't lean on my car.
Yes. You remember?
Yeah.
In Sando, I was just making a little joke and thing, Mm-hmm. So all the guys came around, and I said to them, look, don't lean on it, and it turned out that I was right.
All right, well, on Calypso Showcase, we want to look at the life of the Calypsonian. We want to look at all the ups and downs and so on. First thing I want you to clarify for the benefit of our viewers, is your name Francisco Slinger or Slinger Francisco? I see some of the documents with it written both ways.
No. Francisco is last. Yo soy Francisco, de otro lado, rey de Calypso. Sí, señor, Francisco. Right. Well, the family name is Francisco. Right. My first name is Slinger.
Tell us about the first 16 years of Sparrow. What was your childhood like, your youth days?
Well, it's so long ago, it's hard to be correct. But I suppose it was very normal and regular. You do your studies and you make your parents happy, and sometimes they get into quarrel with you and that type of thing. But all in all, it was okay.
What school did you go to?
Well, I went to Mokrapo Boys when I was very, very young. I was, ABC, kindergarten. And then on to Newtown Boys, where I really finished. Mm-hmm. And my teacher, ex-teacher, Carl Jadunat, was revealing some of the things that happened to me a few days ago, which I couldn't remember. He was talking about 1946, 47, when my father brought me to the school and wanted to have me enrolled, and some of the things which I didn't know anything about. And from there, he was with me right through.
No, it's common knowledge to everyone that you were actually born in Grenada. What age did you migrate to Trinidad?
Yeah, well, the family brought me over here to Trinidad when I was about a year and a half. Trinidad in those days used to be like America is, the America of the Caribbean. Yeah. And anytime you needed a lot in life, or you needed some improvement, you needed work, you had to come to Trinidad. And pretty much like Trinidadians do today, we all go to America and try to get green card and citizenship and to better ourselves.
Yeah, I remember once traveling abroad, and someone of the islands told me if I could just see Frederick Road, I'm in business.
That's right. And I've traveled to all the different islands, and some of them are very, very nice. I feel that this part of the world is exceptionally nice.
Well, we want to get into the early years of your Calypso on tour. Many people, 1956 started for you, but in fact, the year before 1955, you sang 2 Calypsos. Can you recall that?
1955, I came out with The High Cost of Living, Ruby Where the Baby Disappear, and Racetrack Scandal.
Could you remember any of those calypsos?
Yes, I think I could remember. I usually try to remember the high cost of living, The high cost of living, higher than a mountain. People like me and you so just had to stand up and watch the goods at high-low. I think that's the chorus.
Yes, I remember that actually.
Where the baby disappear. It cannot be for. That has something to do with abortion in a form.
All right, but
illegal abortion, that is. Yes.
But 1956 is the start of the Mighty Sparrow's career as far as we are concerned with that tune, Gene and Dinah. We want the story of Gene and Dinah.
Well, that was the original, both of them. Gene and Dinah. Well, it was four of them, Gene and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina. Well, actually, that was a commercial. I had made a commercial for Salvatore Scott and Company. I always keep telling people, you know, that during the days when I used to be up and down in Port of Spain, regular, just moving up and down, and a melody in my head, Salvatore Scott and Company, Salvatore Scott and Company, you know, just a little melody. And in those days, you had people like Melody and Small Island Pride and some of these guys advertising for high-low and glamour girl lingerie and so on. And, you know, I thought, well, Salvatore should be advertising. They're bigger and they seem more prosperous, and you know, why aren't they advertising? So I made up this thing. Gene and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina came to me one morning after they complete their shopping. They tell me, honey, I never had more luxury, more than when I stopped and went in at Salvatore to shop. But the tune in my head. And when the Yankees coincidentally had to leave at that same time, I got the idea one time.
Well, the girls in town feeling bad. No more Yankees in Trinidad. They go close down the base for good. Them girls have to make out how they could. Whether it's now they park up in town, in for a penny and in for a pound. Believe me, it's competition for so. Trouble in the town with the price drop low. So when you bounce up Gene and Dinah, Rosita and why gonna call and posing. That's what I have, something they're selling. You catch them broke, you can get them. The Yankees lost.
Can you relive some of the excitement of that year for us?
Well, I can't remember in every detail, but you know, when I went up there, I really weren't too particular about winning. I had been with the Calypsonians who say, you know, I've been up there 4 times, I never win. This one I've been 7 times, you never win, and so on. So when I got my break there, I figured, well, no big thing. If I win, I may have another chance. So I went out there and just let it all hang out and throw up my hat in the air and carry on and start to. When I heard the people start to react and think, I was a little bit, you know, pleasantly surprised, you know. I said, well, like I'm doing something good, and every verse, man. And then the march of dime behind, boom, wah, boom, wah, and I got the energy and I continued to drive it home, boy.
And the verse that stands out of mind is the Glamour Boys again.
Glamour Boys again, we are going to rule Port of Spain.
Real action started. There was no doubt after that. Now, as early as 1957, you started to show that you were the type of Calypsonians going to stand up for the rights of the Calypsonians because you decided you're going to boycott the competition. Why did you do this?
Well, I figured that Calypso, to me, it was so important and Calypsonians were so special that it should be treated better. And when you check on the prizes, I never really knew what the prize money was before Gene and Dinah. And after I won, and then I got to receive that prize, was $40 and a cup from Angostura. I was a little disappointed then, you know, but just the same, the glory of it all was there, and, you know, I was happy with that. And immediately after, you know, the Calypsonians got together, there were a lot of grumblings and, you know, people dissatisfied. But they wouldn't tell the organizers anything. In those days, it was the Guardian Neediest Cases Fund. Right. It wasn't the Carnival Committee, as some people think. And we decided that next year, 57, we ain't going. But I serious. Some of them guys are making jokes.
Right.
And what I did was to organize with a guy named Vivian Lee, a promoter. I think he was originally from Guyana. And he came over and promoted something, a Calypso King competition in Globe Cinema, 1957. Some of the other guys went to the Savannah. Well, I won that one in Globe.
Yeah.
Seemed like we in for turbulent weather here, boy.
That's all right, we can deal with it.
Yeah.
right, so we come inside of your home now.
Yes. Welcome home.
Nice being inside. Why are you afraid outside, so?
Raid, boy, raid.
And kids looking at you.
Actually, what happened is I was told that Jazzy gave Kitchener a pair of binoculars for Carnival. And you see how Kitch living right across there? I don't know what he could do with his binoculars. So I ordered some new drips from Miss Baldwin, but I ain't get it yet. So until I get the drips, let me stay inside. Keep away from Kitch eye.
This is a beautiful room inside here. I love that picture on the wall there with all the Calypsonians this year. Those who have won the Calypso Monarch title over the years. You have people like Crow, David Rudder.
Penguin, Scrunter, Stalin, Chalky, Kitch, Juke, Terra, Striker. That's me there. And Tiger and Pretender.
In 1958, another road march for you, Pay As You Earn. You were not in competition yet, you were still on boycott, but you were able to win the road march.
We were boycotting the competitions, and but still, you know, you really can't boycott the road march. As once you have your song out there, it's up to the people if they like it and they want to use it. So it's not like now where the road march is so orchestrated, so organized, and you know people know what they want to play or by whom they want to play for before the carnival even becomes a reality.
Now there are two songs that you sang in 1950 that have been personal favorites of mine. Now you don't sing it so much in competition and on shows. I don't know why.
Which one is that?
Teresa and Russian Satellite. Beautiful tunes.
Yeah. Well, that's true too. I have to come back to these things, you know. I like Teresa in particular because it was the first attempt I had in using a little bit of language, you know, foreign language in Calypso. Sparrow, let me go. Boy, don't hold me so. Me mama go no. Sparrow, darling, wait till tomorrow. Teresa, I love you. And I'm always thinking of you. Yo te quiero mucho. I really can't wait for tomorrow. Something like that.
Yeah, well, I've heard you sing Spanish, French, even Dutch in Calypso. Where did you learn these languages?
Well, again, I love languages. I even try a little bit of Chinese, a little touch of Hindi, you know, that kind of thing. And, of course, patois, you know. Garçon, c'est comme ça par le café, no?
Pretty African girl, she come for the carnival. She want to play with George Bailey, but she ain't have no l'argent at all. I tell she I go pay for she, but she gonna spend the night with me. She gonna tell me what we began. If you hear how this madly can go. Monsieur who got you in, leve, ouvre la porte la macosa, que tu sais. Quand des musulmans, maman, et puis non, trouver un bagaille comme ça. Ça y est. Bon Dieu, monsieur, vous got you.
1959, one of your favorites, Simpson.
Yes, that was what. Simpson, the funeral agency man. I sang that a couple nights ago.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. It went over very, very well indeed.
Yes, where the man waiting for me, although he here dead, you had two candles and he parked up there with his slippers and thing, and he
It ain't to say I ain't have a sense of humor, but I don't like the latest rumor. Of course I have a sense of humor, but I don't like the latest rumor. People all about having to say how Sparrow kick out. He was in some kind of collision, poor soul, and he dead and gone. Amen. Every half an hour, somebody ringing up until they get the news. They don't intend to stop. Yes, no. Yes, I knew Sparrow, a very nice fellow. Whenever we met, we always said hello. Yes, no. It was Simpson, the funeral agency man, with the coffin in the hand. Simpson, the funeral agency man, he walking in the junction.
The following year, though, 1960, in fact, you were given the title the unofficial Calypso King of the World. And this was an achievement that in 4 years people could see you already as their Calypso King of the World, because you went back into official competition, and in 1960 you were able to create the double of winning the road match and the March Gras title.
Yeah, well, that was quite an achievement. And the people recognized that I did stand for the right thing, you know, because like I told you before, the Calypsonians definitely were not being treated properly. And we didn't have up to now, we don't have a vibrant association, and we are striving very hard for that. But until such time as we get a nice, vibrant association, we are going to continue to have this sort of shabby treatment, you know. And when I came back in, conditions were a little bit better. And as we go on, you will realize that I had to strike again for better conditions, because everybody else was improving and everything was happening nice for other people, and it wasn't happening nice for the Calypsonians.
Now let's talk about the two tunes that they sang that year. First of all, let's talk about 10 to 1 is Murder. And, you know, people always ask the question, how much of that was true?
The song is self-explanatory, I believe. You have to listen to it carefully, and it explains itself.
Well, I have the same question to ask now about Mimi.
Yes. You catch me there.
This is a true story, ladies and gentlemen. Hit it! Hit it! Yup. Hey. Playing bad, they have me feeling sad. Well, they're playing this. Why they run for body stand criminal attack me outside the drama? Way down Henry Street by Asia Walker. About 10 in the night on the 5th of October. You say how I push the girl from Medina. How the leader of the gang was a hot like a pepper. And every man in the gang had a white hand razor. Well, I back until I nearly fall in the gutter. But just imagine my position of the police in the area. Take it out. Making love one day with a girl they calling Mimi. Making love one day with a sweet little girl named Mimi. I pick up Mimi by the railway, and we take a taxi straight to Claxton Bay. Before we lay down on the carpet, she start catching fit where she bawling. Darling, don't fight me, don't bother me. I never had a man to ever do that to me. You're making me feel so sweet. Stop, Sparrow, stop.
But my two daughters went to your show 2 weeks ago, and when they saw you sing Mimi, they said, he has to be the greatest.
Well, yeah, that's quite a compliment from the young people.
We continue with 1961, Road March again, Royal Jail.
That's right. That's, again, using the bravado category, you know, where you brag and boast about what you feel you can do when you're young and you're strong and you're afraid of nobody and blah, blah. Way back, you know, that used to be a part of the tradition handed down by the griots way back in Africa. And some of it, of course, rubbed off when we tried to, of course, create a new music in Trinidad.
I don't tell my friends and my family not to worry. Any one of them interfere with me, take it easy. Don't worry, do beg the jury, save the lawyer fee. If you have any mail, I live in Royal Jail.
Well, 1962, that ability to express your conviction in a song certainly came out in Federation, because you sound like you were damn vexed with all the politicians.
Yes, like I told them, I felt, right now, I love Jamaicans very much, but at that time, I feel I could have give one of them a calpet, you know? Calpet is a good tap, because this Federation was, to me, the answer to a lot of problems. And by now, we definitely would have been a world power to be reckoned with, economically at least.
Sorry, but no federation again. I think it's a big shame. After so much effort and energy put by everybody, right now is only a memory. We failed miserably. Some may say we shouldn't help part it, but it's Jamaica we started. If they know they didn't want federation, and they know they didn't want to unite as one. Tell me, doctor, don't behave like a plastic traitor. How the devil you mean you are federated? No.
1963, won the crown again, this time with two gems. Kennedy, which was an international calypso, and in fact, one of the things that I find is that a lot of calypsonians stay away from international themes, and you showed your ability to broaden the horizon by going after something like as heavy as Kennedy.
Again, it all depends on where your interest lies, you know. I found myself always interested in things like that. And when it became Martin Luther King for president, or you tell the North, or I gonna tell the North, you tell the South. And Kennedy's the man for them. These things are of interest to me. I'm always looking out for things like that. And again, I'm concerned about children and their education and their happiness and the preparation for the future. So once you're a concerned person that kind of way, you would find interest in those topics. Also, that year, I started the portrayal of the character, not only with verve and vigor and vim, but with costuming, if you remember. Dan is the man.
Yeah, that was your second tune.
Yeah, the schoolboy with the slingshot and the cap and thing, and had the people going nuts on the place.
Dan is the Man in the Van. If I had to choose one of your top 5 tunes, Dan is the Man in the Van would be one of them.
That's right. I like it myself. I sing it every once in a while.
Well, according to the education you get when you're small, you will grow up with true ambition and respect from one and all. But in my days in school, they teach me like a fool. The things they teach me, I should be a block-headed mule. They tell me pussy has finished his book long ago, and now we resting and king. Solomon a Gundy, born on a Monday, the ass in the lion's skin. Winking, blinking and nod, sail off in a wooden sloop. Monkey, monkey tail, and the alligator fighting to get monkey in my soup. And God is the man in the van. Now imagine, as a little child, that's what they practice you with. You want to build on that.
Well, there were other tunes like The Village Ram, which obviously showed another side of you again in the middle of all the serious topics like Martin Luther King and so on that you were singing.
Yeah. Just goes to show that man don't live by bread alone.
Is me the village ram? Baby, here I am. Oh Lord, I'm the village ram. Darling, here I am. When I put you in the clinch, don't care how you bite and pinch, and I lock my arms round your side, you'll be begging to be my bride. Not a woman ever complained yet. With me, I am full of love and charm and durability. And if a woman ever say that I ever left her dissatisfied, she lied, she lied, she lied.
You know, even if we recall some of the years like Benwood Dick and some of those other tunes, that side of the Mighty Sparrow, which we call the double entendre or we call spicy, has been a feature of your career, but still an acceptable feature of your career, not overdone.
That's right. Again, like I told you from the very beginning, balance, kind of normal, you know, the way how things are, a little good, a little bad here and there, but hey, you know, like everybody else, I suppose.
And in fact, if we jump the gun a little bit, a tune like Saltfish, I mean, you know, tastefully done.
Well, saltfish is one of the staples that we have in this part of the world. And after having acquired the taste for saltfish, and to the point where one can say it's growing through your ears, people later on in life tell you, you know, boy, fish is good for you, and you must eat a lot of fish. Well, this is what they said to me. And all my life I eaten fish.
I'm gonna make it very simple, so all you have to say is saltfish. Nothing in the world sweeter than saltfish. English hard, even Barbadian saltfish. It's sweeter than meat when you eat all saltfish sweet. Saltfish soup is what I like. So do. You must give me the bit. I like your food. So don't find me rude. It's my favorite. I show every man in here can already eat it. Saltfish. Nothing in the world sweeter than saltfish. English called for the hard bacon. Saltfish. It's sweeter than meat. When you want to eat, tell the truth now.
One of the things I'm always fascinated by when I see you work on a stage is how well rehearsed you look. But at the same time, you're a guy traveling so often. How much of the choreography is pre-planned and really worked at?
None of it. If there's anything that resembles a properly choreographed something, is because of practice. I've done it already. I did it. I'm doing it now, and you know. But to say that I stood in a rehearsal studio and choreographed this, no, I never did that. It's how you feel. If you notice, I would never really do the same song the same way twice, even though I do it over and over. But there are some similarities.
The other thing that I notice is that you seem to have a good sense of pitch. You sometimes can start before the band and you're right in key with them, or you can tell them what key to play in and so on.
Yeah, well, once you, again, in practice, experience, once you have that tone, once you're not tone deaf, you have true pitch, it makes it a lot easier on a regular concert, because it isn't every time you want the band to start to do boom boom dum bim bam bam dam. It gets, you know, to me it's like boring from time to time. So when it's a lengthy show, I like to move into the other selection. And sometimes when the musicians are having a difficult time in perhaps remembering the music in front of them and they can't even count it properly, it happens from time to time. You give them a start. And one time they remember. But that's not a new thing, because this is how we used to sing in the Calypso tent in the earlies, because no musician was there to read everything for you. While you are being announced, ladies and gentlemen, we have a young fella in the back here who's going to sing for you a wonderful song. What's the name of this song, boy? While that is being done, you are singing to the musician. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can hear the music, and then the chorus. Kaiso down the line.
Right. 1965, a good year for you. You weren't in competition, but you had tunes like Congo Man, Get the Hell Out of Here, Well Spoken, Moppers. I think that was one of your better years.
Yeah, that was, political and social commentary, Solomon Affair, I say that Solomon will be Minister of External Affairs. If you ain't like it, get the hell out of here. Yes, sir.
Now, the performance of Congo Man, I remember seeing you singing that at Seamen and Waterfront Workers. And if you ever talked about a total calypso in terms of presentation, melody, lyrics, and really taking you to where it could have happened, that was it, Congo Man.
Yes, I thought the Congo Man was pretty much like a one-man opera. You get all the sounds of the birds and the trees and the wind and howling and the animals and seeing, you know, let your face transform itself into a cannibal, and yet you're talking about something else and you're playing the part of the two scared white women in a pot. And the Congo Man in his glee, you know. It's really, really fantastic.
Peeping through the bushes to see what's taking place. There I saw the Congo going to take a little taste. He opened me eye and he started to grin. Rubbing the belly and the bubbly. I envy the Congo man. I wish it was me. I want to shake his hand. He eat until his stomach upset. What about you, sir?
Okay, 1966, and you have so many favorites. I don't know which one to really pinpoint, but Obia Wedding, Melda, is a classic.
That's right. In those days, I considered myself one of the most eligible bachelors, and you know, had to guard against forced marriages and that type of thing.
Well, you couldn't find a better way to put it over.
Free and necromancy, boy, you have to guard against them thing, you know. Otherwise, you're in plenty trouble.
Melda, oh, you making wedding plan. Carrying me into Obia man. All you do, can't get through. I'm still there for my way. You're making yourself a papi show, Melda. You making yourself a bloody clown. Up and down the country looking for Obia. And your perspiration smells so strong. Well, you only wasting your time. Obia wedding bells don't shine. Cause you can't trap with the romancy. Oi! Melda, oh, wedding plan. Carrying me into Obia man. All you do, can't get through. I still ain't gonna marry you. Melda, oh.
In 1967, that's the year you sang a beautiful tune, No Money, No Love.
Ivory pack up, she closed to leave, man. Just a little hard time, you know. The man just had a little bad luck. She pack up and she gone.
And that was your outstanding tune of 67.
Can't love without money. You know, like I tell them, like the other night I asked them, I say, how do we say it in Trinidad? Apart from saying no money, no love. Because in America they say no money, no honey. But of all the sayings, the Englishman have the best saying. Romance without finance is a bloody nuisance. Boiled down to the same thing.
Right.
No money, no love.
Now, apart from the fact that you have entered competitions and won so many times, there are a lot of years when you didn't enter, and if you had entered, you would have been the same story. And I think 1968, Mr. Walker and Jane. Oh, what could we say about those two tunes?
Well, I liked them. I thought that was a turning point, because if you listen to Jane, it was a little bit of simplification of the lyrics, where you're coming in with the aha. And instead of putting other lyrics there, I just came in with, I ain't ready yet. Aha, still short.
I ain't ready yet. I'm not beginning fat. I'm having a good time. Don't break up the line. Go away. I intend to stay peaceful. I ain't going home at all.
Now, Sasai, another road march contender, which went all the way to win the road march.
That's right. That's one that I just used to make up numbers, because in that year, I had what Who Should Go Cry For? That was what, 69?
69.
1969. I had a lot of nice tunes that year, and Sasai was just to make up I said, make up the numbers.
Well, you had other tunes like Sparrow, Dead, Lizard,
Yeah, well, this is the
60 Million Frenchmen, Afraid Pussy Bite Me.
Good. You see what I'm talking about? And I thought Sasa was just to make up the numbers, because when you have an LP, how many we used to use? First of all, I used to use 12 tunes on a LP. I don't think, and I don't think anybody else had 12 on a LP. I had 12 in 1958, and as the years went by, I came down to 10, and then to 8, and eventually to 6. Yes, there was one year that I used 4 and 2 versions, but I didn't like that. I thought this was a little bit cheating, you know. It really wasn't right. So I came back to 6, and I think I must stay at 6. But I may be able to go more, because CDs are now into the market, and CDs can take quite a lot.
Right. Oh, 60 Million Frenchmen and Afraid Pussy Bite Me. 10 tunes of class.
That's right. Still going very strong. Because, as you know, some people don't talk about it, but they're really afraid for four-legged animal. Yeah.
And your performance of that, I mean, demanding a full encore the other night was something to see.
That's right. We had a nice time there, man. And I think, you know, what people like about that too is the melody. It's a very haunting melody also. Down, da, 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 da.
From since small I hear them say, with pussycat you must play. I was never one to disobey. Never touch a pussy from that day. A pussycat always look vexed, especially the females. You never know what they will do next. I guess I have a pussycat complex. Pussy could be just born from the time I see you. Pussy bite me. To get a big stone, I go broke on pussy.
In 1972, well, between the period 68 to 71, we had seen a guy called Duke ruling the Calypso world, and I think there was a little challenge thrown out to you somewhere in late 71.
Yeah, well, again, you know, in fighting for better conditions, way back I started the boycott business so that people would realize that they need the services of the Calypsonians, and if you don't get the better Calypsonians, at some point your standard is going to drop. So you will have to come to terms, and as long as the Calypsonians are reasonable, they should be given good treatment. But during those times, some of the Calypsonians did not support, and Duke was one of them. I'm not trying to decry him in any way, but he didn't support the boycott, and he won for 4 years straight. Now, after the 4th year, he said that he didn't want to compete again unless Sparrow was there, because it'd be a hollow victory, and he wants Sparrow there, and what are you going to do to Sparrow, and etc., etc. So I got a message to him, say, Duke, you must learn to drink milk, don't count cow. You understand? It's a whole folklorish way of warning him that it ain't easy. Don't come challenging Sparrow, because you're going to be in trouble. But he didn't hear me, and what he did was to allow this challenge to stand, and there you have it. That is, the rest is history. Since then, you know, I don't think he ever won a crown again. And it's not my doing so much. I believe Duke won 4 years, and if you could play Way, you would understand that number 4 is what?
Dead man.
You notice I won 3 years straight, and after that?
Yeah, 72, 73, and 74. Oh. Well, let's talk about 72. Drunkard, Disorderly, and Rope. First time anybody win the Savannah with a double party tunes. They say it can't be done.
That's right. Well, you know, you have to break the rules every once in a while. You know, I had my ups and downs. I was a little bit disappointed when I lost in 61 to Douglas. Is Douglas? Is 61, yeah. But that was a nice song, Lazy Man, you know. But again, you know, when you're in the competition, you all want to win. And what else? What else? And now, a time I lost again to the Bomber, right?
Five Little Popos.
Yeah, dying. My argument was, when Spoiler was alive, Spoiler couldn't beat me. So you come and imitate Spoiler, how you could beat me? You know, that kind of argument. But it was a nice effort. Looking back at it now, I don't have any arguments, you know. It's over and done with. But every once in a while I think about that. So coming back to, what was the year again?
1972.
1972 with two-party song.
Drink and drunk, died in my name. Always make me family shake. Like Marianne all day all night. Staggering high like a kite. It's Christmas, every day is Christmas. I could drink me rum, trust, till me belly must. Until I get drunk and suddenly, always in constant family. All man that I will take, drunk and suddenly. Every weekend in jail, drunk and suddenly. Nobody to stand the bill, oh Lord.
Something else that stood out in 1973 was the tune Memories.
Memories, boy, that was a year. And up to now, you know, that song is such a beautiful song that from the time you start, people start to applaud. They know the song, they love the music, they know what it's all about.
Every year somebody dear give us cause to shed a tear and mourn, for they are gone. Now all that's left is a faint memory based on the theme of a strange melody. Still, we must think of them and recall their image with pride, telling people from deep inside, this is dedicated to those who died. But in this, I'll always remember jumping when a steel band passed, playing mass, sugary, peppery, but was never ever one for class. But from Innis, wherever you are, compare just for you, I come out with real fire.
Now, 1974, the 30th straight, was a big year. A guy called Shadow was doing extremely well with a tune called Bassman, and remember you and Kid saying, how are we going to beat this man?
Boy, I gotta tell you something. That was one of the most difficult years for me as a competitor. I know what to do. I know how to do it. But Shadow ain't making life no easier for me. I remember well. I had to do a lot of concentration. Keep away from everybody by myself. Figuring out how to nullify this man's madness, if possible, if at all possible. And I saw Shadow took that audience, put them in the palm of your hand, crush them, lift them up, play ball with them. I say, well, boy, buddy, you have to pull out all the stops here today. And I'd like his tunes to have both tunes. So when my time came, of course, I had to try a little harder to try and get my side of the story told. But it's not that I was scared, because if I had lost, it wouldn't have been a shame or something to feel badly about, because it would have been a master tune and a master performance that beat me.
This year gonna be great. First I want to play, I can hardly wait. Dress up like a Baptist woman with a whole shoebox in the hand, charging money to see such confusion in the band. To see Miss Mary, she big and hairy. To see she mother, to see she father. For carnival this year, I have Miss Mary Wayne. So come and see she.
And like I say, I must congratulate Shadow, even though so many years ago he did give me a real true test. Yes, yes.
While we're on that point, though, talk to us about using that Savannah stage. So many Calypsonians, when they reach it at a big yard, falter because they don't know how to use that stage.
Again, nobody went to any particular school to learn how to use. It's just a matter of observation, common sense, and keep yourself physically fit. Regardless of what, if you're not physically fit, you cannot make it. You have to. The control or the proper use of the stage does not begin with your being selected for the finals. The proper use of that stage comes with conditioning, and you have to do that home. As a matter of fact, if you look in the back of you, you see exercise equipment, you see a big yard, and this is some of the things that a person would have to do in order to handle that sort of thing, or to do these marathon shows. You know,
so that you don't run out of breath.
You don't run out of breath, because where Calypso is concerned, the way I operate is that you can hear every lyric, no matter what speed I sing at. And this didn't come only because it's a gift from God. It is something that you have to practice. So you're thankful and you're grateful that you are blessed in that you have the gift, but you have to use it properly. And being physically fit is one of the ways.
I want to jump a little bit to 1977, because that's another high point in your career when you made a trip to Nigeria with the Festac, and you were crowned Chief Omawali. Can you?
Chief Omawali of Ikoyi. Ikoyi is the area, you know, and Chief Omawali is supposed to be my honorary chief name. It means the son has returned, the returning son. You know, I don't know. I went to the place where they shipped out a lot of slaves, and so a certain part in Nigeria, and you know, very historic, and we took a lot of pictures and so on. You know, kind of sad, but then again, you know, to think that we did survive the crossing and everything, you know, and there's a king there who treated us very nicely and said to us that that sort of thing will never happen again. I said, yes, Your Highness, you are right. It will never happen again.
I'm a slave from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa. I'm a slave from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa. And, well, it was licks like fire from the white slave master. Every day I'd gone on my knees, weeks and weeks before we crossed the seas to reach in the West Indies. And then they make me work. I said I work, good Lord, no pay. And then I toil and I toil so hard each day. I'm dying. I'm crying, Lord. Oh, Lord, I want to be free. Yo! Many times I wanted to run, but the English slave master standing there with the gun, the gun, the gun. Oh, I know he gonna shoot to kill. So I stay and I pray, but I plan him still. And I study night and day how to break away. I got to make a brilliant escape. But every time I think about the whip and them dogs, my body does start to shake. He make me work, I said I work. Oh Lord, no pay. And then I toil so hard each day. I'm dying.
Don't miss the Mighty Sparrow live on Calypso Showcase next week.
And then times change in so many ways, till one day somebody said, free the bloody slave. I was then put out on the street. I had no clothes, I had no food, I had no place to sleep. I had no education, no particular ambition. This I cannot conceive. Forgot my native culture. I live like a vulture. From the white man I had to steal. He made me work. I said I work. Oh Lord, no pay. And then I toil hard each day.
Now, 1978, a little special tune which you might not have thought would have got very popular, Natasha, Dudu Yemi.
Yes, well, this again was a play on some of the Yoruba words. This is Nigerian words.
But you also sang on Idi Amin that year, so the trip to the Africa might have influenced those topics.
That's right, because at that time we were all concerned with Africanism. The movement was back to Africa, anything African. The dashiki came in and the Afro hairstyle, and everybody was into it, and it stayed with us for quite some time, so it was quite normal and natural to fall right into the African language.
Now, so one thing that came to our knowledge that year was the fact that you had a tune which has spent 27 weeks on the European chart. Only a fool breaks his own heart. Where did you find time to make that in between?
Well, what happened is I did this song. Now, first of all, I met the guy who did it originally, a guy called Arthur Prysock. A very deep voice, something like Billy Eckstine. Sparrow, you got to learn this song, you know.
Why do I keep fooling myself when I know you love someone else? Only a fool breaks his own heart. Sing the song. I have to admit, even though I know I simply can't forget. If I'm a man and let you go, it's no use, no goddamn use. You're trying to hang on, darling. I know your love's already gone. Only a fool breaks his own heart. Sing the song.
Now, all over the years, you've always had this idea of presenting your calypsos with costume, with flair, with everything. Robot, 1979, I think, was the epitome of that.
That's right. I had batteries and everything, doing the robot dance.
And I have, instead of brains in my head, a small sensitive computer with complete data. Yes, I'm equipped with laser, telescopic eyes and radar. That's why I feel that I am real. When me circuit breaker get hot, I could whine better than John Travolta. I'm a robot, whining with precision. See me, I'm a robot, dancing in slow motion. However, the man designed the plan, it working fine. Because I'm the only robot man today could whine. I'm a robot for Carnival in 79.
People have talked a lot about presentation of Calypso and what makes for good presentation. What, in your opinion, is good presentation in Calypso?
Well, it all depends on what the topic is, and if you stay close to it and make people again believe it's real, then I would say that's good or great presentation. You can be presenting something about a racetrack scandal and you're dressed like a judge in the court. If you dress like a jockey, whatever the real essence of the song is, when you're talking about racetrack, bacchanal, whatever happened, you dress like a jockey, have a whip, put on your cap, and so on. I think you're portraying the character.
Other good tunes, 1980, Wanted Dead or Alive, London Bridge is Falling Down.
That's right. Wanted Dead or Alive. This was one of my better songs around that time. Of course, I had what I had before that. I had Ayatollah telling Ayatollah, watch your tail, because you have America, you have the tiger by the tail. And somewhere along the line, this tiger, as soon as you let it go, it's going to eat you up. And, well, it didn't eat up Iran, but Iraq got the brunt of it. And maybe Saddam Hussein should have been listening when I was warning the Ayatollah. Wanted Dead or Alive was Observation again. Pak Chung-hee and Idi Amin and Gary and people from all over the world at the same time seem to have had a problem. General Somoza from Nicaragua, and you know, it all happened at the same time. So again, a keen sense of observation, and brought that one out.
The rule of the tyrants declined. The year 1979. From Uganda to Nicaragua, bombs and bullets all the time. So they corrupt, so they vile. So it's coup after coup all the while. Human rights they violate, they thought they were too great. So in disgrace now they live in exile. Gary is a wanted man. Idi Amin is a wanted man. The Shah of Iran fighting hard to survive. He too is wanted, dead or alive.
A nice little ditty you did in 1981, Sanford, which also had to do with an international theme, but you put over in your own way.
Sanford, that was, again, one of my favorite comedian. And if you check inside, you would see a lot of tapes, just like how I have Oliver on tape. I have all Sanford. Elizabeth. Oh, this is the big one, baby.
The greatest comedian in all our television. Everybody love him, but he's a good for nothing. He's hilarious. He's notorious. Don't know why, but he like to pester. Julio, Grady, and Antesta, telling she face like a twister. Talking about crazy Mr. Sanford, 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 oh, Sanford, and his son, them two stinkers. Elizabeth, this is the big one, baby. Elizabeth,
coming to meet you, honey. Elizabeth. This is the big one, baby. Elizabeth. Oh. You expect me to believe a cotton story like that?
In 1982, a special year, you got into politics and you decided to compose a tune, We Like It So. And we had some controversy that year.
Yeah, always controversy, you know. We like it so. We free. You, Mr. Sparrow, let me tell you, we want to... What? I can't remember, you know, so long I ain't sing this song, I can't remember.
But I remember when you did that tune in the tent on the opening night, it was almost like a still audience saying, this man boldface says, come and sing a calypso like that. But by the end of the season, everybody was singing the chorus with you.
That's right, because they recognize that there's a lot of truth in it. I'm talking, if you listen to the opening of this song says, neighbor, look, if I was a selfish man.
Neighbor, look, if I was a selfish man, I wouldn't be involved in the election. I don't know already, I ain't want fame. Plus, I ain't looking for fortune again. All I'm asking is that you pay close attention to the many problems we all face from dawn to dawn. You're intelligent, I think, and you should face issues. But you behaving like a moron, cussing me for where I'm born. But your pipe and no water, pay too much for butter. She said, take your steel beam and go. Terrible school system, such a bloody problem. Take your steel beam and go. Agriculture's in a state, planning is inadequate. Take your steel beam and go. The northern and southern idol, the two kingpins of bubble. We know, we like it so. We like it so. We're free.
But anyway, there's a character that I, created. And
Margin.
Funny, Margin again, trying to cross the border, like Margarita, you cross the border, to say hello to the neighbors, the nice, beautiful neighbors there, and found yourself in trouble. I think up to now I'm paying for Margin. For my affection and my words of love towards Margin, up to now I am being persecuted for that.
And talking about presentation again, the way that you dressed right away, people could tell what you were singing about.
Ah, nice. Negro gentleman, dress up like Indian gentleman. Put on turban, playing like a Maragina.
In this loving game, we are all the same. Why should our cultures keep us apart? You are my sugar plum, sweet little honey bunch. You are the melody singing in my heart. Well, already I love roti and sweet bara. I could learn to get accustomed to a pira. Teach me how to play a bachang on the sita. And I will trade my toilet paper for some water. Maraji, Maraji, oh my sweet Dula, saucy Maraji, sexy Maraji. Do la head, very sweet. Look at you.
But Philip, my dear, I mean, let's talk about that in terms of being able to conjure up what possibly went on, the way the lyrics were strung together in that calypso.
Yes, yes. You have to get very regal in your thinking. I remember there was a poem that came to my mind just before I made that song. I remember a part of it says, and shall this audacious traitor brave the presence where my banner wave? Oh, please, my liege, said Argentine, were he but horsed and steed like mine, to give him fair and knightly chance, adventure forth my life, something like that. And I thought that was very nice. I love the language. If I can love French and Spanish and things, why can't I love good English, especially Oxford-type English? And so this came to mind, to bring that right back and see if you can build on that, learn from that, in imagining what probably went on, as was reported, the man in the Queen bedroom.
Philip, my dear, last night I thought was you in here. Where did you go? Working for good old England, but you're missing all the action. My dear, do you know? There was a man in the bed wearing your shoe, fondling the royal costume, dipping in the royal perfume. I'm telling you true. A man in my bedroom, anxious for a rendezvous, and I thought it was you. He big just like you, but younger, stronger, harder, badder. A man in my bedroom, he came on the bed to do, and I
Now, every time, despite all of these calypsos that you've written, people always looking to say, Sparrow finish. You know, Sparrow can't make a road march again, he can't do nothing. And 1984, Do Back Back, I think that must have been a distinct pleasure for you.
Oh yes, whenever I surprise the detractors like that, I'm always happy.
Tell us about Do Back Back, the foundation of it, the development and so on.
Again, well, you keep on trying all the time, you know. You continue to come with some nice ones, and Do Back Back just happened to fall in the vein. And I use about 2 or 3 different hook lines so that people can sing along. Don't do that, give them a chance to sing that, don't do that. And then you give them a nice little love way, do back, back on me.
do back, back on me, do back, back. Dancing with your man, you only jumping down the pan with your bam bam. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, yeah, don't do that. Do back, back on me, do back, back. Do back, back on me, do back, back. You look so pretty, really sexy. Boom, boom, look so healthy, jamming on me purposely, darling. Don't do that to me.
Well, everybody saw you up to 1984 as the Calypso King of the World. And when it was announced that there was going to be an official competition in 1985, well, everybody wanted to see whether you were going to cement that title.
That's right, it was most interesting. And what happened there was a lot of Calypsonians from other parts of the Calypso world started building up their hopes and building up their audiences that they're going to bring back the crown and that kind of thing. Well, it wasn't going to be easy, as they later found out. I enjoy competition, you know, and when these sort of challenges come, say, you just had to pull out a few more stops.
I remember one of the little tricks that you used to, and a lot of Calypsonians using it now. Blue Boy was in the competition, and you dropped soca pressure on him right away.
Yeah, well, that was a little bit cold, but hey, all is fair in love and war. Blue Boy is a young, powerful youngster who come on the scene and just start beating people left and right, you know what I mean? So you had to do something to sort of nullify his effect.
They used to say I had the old man done. Blue Boy and them boy had me on the run. But they realized they made a big mistake. I was only giving them young fellas a break. But the brag and boast all in America. How to win a road march, they have the formula. They say, but oh, you just can't make it in. Until I step back in, back and then kill them. Soca pressure, soca pressure. The jams with music get banned. Soca pressure, where's it? Soca pressure. 1985, who survived, survived. for the training fountain. Music night and day, jamming all the way. Soca pressure for the carnival. Ooh, ay, 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 ay. Woo!
Then when you sang Education, well, the people who were doubting your ability to rise above the others in that competition, I think that tune more than any other tune in the competition did it for you.
Well, yes, if you remember, at that time, when it was 85?
Yes.
That competition was at a time when education, as it still is, very important on the lips of people. And when you hit a song like that, it's tough to beat that song because lyrically the song is strong, melodically it's there, and if you perform it right, somebody may edge you here and there if they come equally as strong, but you know, it's not going to be easy. You know, you're going to be definitely in the first grouping. And this is the strategy, to try to be with the first grouping so that in the second grouping, stamina will tell. We'll see who could edge out who, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Education, education, this is the foundation. Our rising population needs sound education to be recognized anywhere you go. You gotta have your certificate to show, to enjoy any kind of happiness. Knowledge is the key to success. Children go to school and learn well. Otherwise, later on in life, you're gonna get red hair. Without an education in your head, your whole life will be pure misery. You're better off dead. For there is simply no room in this whole wide world for an uneducated little boy or girl. Don't allow idle companions to lead you astray. To earn tomorrow, you got to learn today.
And when they had the second one in 1988, you did a tune called Document Pan, which I always feel should have been made like a national song.
Yes, well, what happened is that was a special song I made for that competition. These are not songs that I am prepared to sing on an everyday show, but NJAC recognized the greatness in this song, and they give me
a Top 20 award.
Yeah, it was very, very nice. I still have it there, you know. NJAC, I have been doing some good things for Calypso, and I had a nice chat with Makanda Daga not too long ago, and I think they have some great things in store.
Steel band man, historian, Mr. Politician, tell me when you're going to write the history upon you taking steel band for granted, stating it always will be a wrong. But when and how it all started, you make no mention. Documentation can be found. I said to try the NCC or the university and tell me if you see any steel band history for posterity. If the steel band must go, the children must know the trials and tribulations of long ago. If the steel band must go, the children must know the trials and tribulations of long ago.
When we look at the modern Sparrow today, we're leading up to 1992, obviously, and your material that you've done, we know you've done some excellent songs over the last 5 years that you've always put out an LP. But we want to deal specifically with your performances in 1992 while it's fresh on everybody's mind. I remember you singing this song, We Will Survive, in a mass camp one night way back in even December. And I said, what's Sparrow singing a tune this heavy this early in the season?
Well, this was in trying to test this song and to feel out the audience. See if this song is reaching the people, because it's a high song. It's not one of them songs that you can distract yourself and then come back in and get the full essence of it. If you know the song, well, you can do that, but in the very beginning, you have to pay close attention. You have to give undivided attention. And so I wanted to be sure that it was just right, you know? Mm-hmm. And then I sang it in the tent a few times and did the same testing to make sure that's right, because I intended to go in the competition, especially at this time, because I thought it was necessary, because the people controlling it is seeing to it that it is marketed worldwide. And since I am very active and I consider myself the most busy of all Calypsonians, it is important that I market myself and be there on that night.
From the beginning of time, reaching out to the sublime, in a cold and hostile world, we have struggled to exist in this earthly wilderness, seeking an elusive goal. Many times it seemed that we are fighting a hopeless cause, implying extinction is our lot, because we were constantly ravaged by scourges and wars. We gripe, we quarrel and complain, but in the ending up, believe it or not, we will survive, no matter what the odds. Man will survive, inspired by our gods. It's a hard road we travel, but to triumph we shall. We're gonna toil, we're gonna struggle, cause at the end of it all, whether you're big or small, Peter helping Paul, till the master call, we fight for survival.
What has been the high point in your career?
Very difficult to say. I think one of the high points would be the first time I won the crown in 1956. You know, that was an exhilarating feeling that hasn't been duplicated, really, because it was the first time. And another time I felt really, really excited about something was when I was performing in Carnegie Hall for the first time. Knowing Carnegie Hall, hearing about Carnegie Hall, how high it was on the list of prestigious places to play. You know, people talk about the Greek Theater, talk about the Palladium, talk about Madison Square Garden and that type of thing. But Carnegie Hall had class attached all over it. And when I got a chance to star there, I figured, well, you know, this was really, really something. And a few other places. And, of course, as you mentioned, you know, winning the Road March in 1985 after running dry for so many years. And then again, I can't downplay the importance of this 1992 crown.
Just because I ain't like them scandal, they hire your partner to full pay. Kitchen and like all them bacchanal. So I want with you on the phone one day. This is what the old man said. Do it.
I want to challenge you on a point. Some of the steps and some of the moves you made that night, I feel it had to be rehearsed, boy.
In that particular song, yes, we did some choreography.
But I saw the Mighty Sparrow lining up between two girls, jumping perfectly in time, landing.
Yeah, well, we did that. When I answered the question a while ago, I thought you were talking in general because I don't usually perform with anybody else. So I don't, do any choreography. I do a lot of one-foot spins and all different things because it came with practice. But this particular song, for the competition, we did choreography.
Very well done indeed.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now, Sparrow, we, the public looking at you, we have seen you as philosopher, entertainer. We have seen you as the comedian, the calypso extraordinaire, the party man, whatever you want to call it. Which is the true Sparrow?
All of the above.